So welcome everyone to our One Woman Connected session for July. If you don't know me yet, my name is Charlotte Brown. I'm the founder of One Woman, and I just want to say welcome. Whether you've been a part of One Woman for a number of years, maybe you're just learning about the organization, maybe you're a member right now, maybe you're interested in learning more about what's involved with membership, that's what these connected sessions is all about. For our members and for ladies to get to know each other, to be able to network and connect from right around the world, because that's basically what One Woman is. It's basically this massive networking organization made up of almost 500,000 women globally. We started back in 2015, me working in the Amazon rainforest. Actually, I shouldn't say working, I was actually on a trip with a charity that I had donated my time to go and help with. And it turned into the fact that we were building a women's empowerment center, and I was hooked. You know, I just love empowering women globally. And so we do that work in developed and developing countries. So our membership helps support the work that we do in developing countries in terms of helping women start businesses, gain employment skills, helping girls have access to education to break that cycle of poverty. Because what I've learned and what I know for sure beyond a shadow of a doubt is that nothing empowers a woman more than financial independence, and that we all need a little help. That we all have big goals and dreams for our life, and that every woman should be able to realize those, and how powerful we can be when we come together for the greater good of all women in this world. That, you know, we all have different gifts, skills, and talents, that we find the help that we need, we find the support we need, the encouragement we need, all of that stuff to get from wherever we are to wherever it is that we want to go. And that's what I love most about One Woman is these amazing women around the world. You're going to hear from one shortly that has these amazing gifts and talents that you say, hey, you know what, I really need to connect with her. She's exactly who I've been looking for. And that, you know, maybe there's some gifts, skills, and talents that somebody else needs in this group as well. So that's what these meetings are all about, is you know, we can learn about our fellow members and ladies from around the world. And of course, we also do that at our Fearless Summits. So many of you may have attended a Fearless Women Summit before. Maybe you've stepped on and spoke at a Fearless stage. So we do these live events right around the world as well. And in the meantime, we stay connected online. So whether those are our online world summits, we have one coming up in September, or through our connected sessions. So if you're not on our One Woman Connected Facebook page already, which I know some of you are watching this broadcast from there, make sure you join. And I'll be sure to post that link in the chat, that if you're not on there, we share all the stuff that we're doing, wherever we are, whether it's speaking opportunities, whether those are online or in a city, maybe close to you or around the world, somewhere maybe you want to travel. We've done events across Canada, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, Ireland, and we love to travel and go different places and hear women's fearless stories. So we're working on our tour for the following year. So keep your eye out for those speaking opportunities that you have a fearless story, which I know you do, and you want to share it with others, you can apply to speak. And that's one of the benefits for our One Woman Empowered members, is to be able to speak on our fearless stages. So I pick a topic for each of these sessions to talk about some of the benefits of membership. So I had talked about, you know, there's speaking opportunities. Some women like to join our Speakers Bureau, learn about outside opportunities outside of One Woman that are paid speaking opportunities, whether that's speaking for a school or for another event or for a corporation. We get lots of different requests. And so we love making that connection for our members, so that if they want to get out there and to be able to share their gifts, stories, talents with the world, we love making those connections. But today's topic that I wanted to cover was our One Woman Empowerment Academy. So that's what I'm talking about today. So I know women love sharing their fearless stories, and with our events, those are TED style talks. So usually 20 minutes or less, where women are sharing their fearless stories. And the whole goal is to inspire and empower other women to also live fearlessly. And so those are great events, but 20 minutes goes by darn fast. And we have so many other things that we want to share. And lots of times we are wanting to teach others something. We're wanting to be able to share our knowledge. We're wanting to be able to empower other women through our teachings. And so that's where the One Woman Empowerment Academy comes in. So a lot of women out there do a lot of online courses right now, do a lot of webinars, which we know that. And as a One Woman Empowered member, you can promote those that's included in your membership through One Woman. So you can post those and share them on our One Woman Connected page. We will pick those up and share them through our other social media platforms. We'll share them through our newsletter that we send out. But for women who are sitting there and saying, you know what, Charla, I'm really struggling with my webinars. Maybe you're not getting the turnout that you hoped to get. Maybe you're having a trouble with putting them all together as to what to include and really figuring out how to tie your gifts with the needs that's out there to make sure that you have a successful event and how to put all that together. So our Empowerment Academy is kind of that next step in terms of saying like, hey, I need help with putting this all together to make it successful. And we all need to start somewhere and to know how to do that. So that's what our Empowerment Academy is that it's not just offering your webinar to the members, which that's included in your membership in terms of just advertising and promoting what you do and sharing that. The Empowerment Academy is working with myself and my team to put together your webinar, to schedule that, and to be able to offer that, and that it lives on forever through One Woman to always be a lead generator for you. So our website has our One Woman Empowerment Academy, and if you haven't checked it out before, you can go through there and kind of see all the things that we've done before and what some of our members have put on there. And what we do is work with our members in terms of creating your webinar. So of course, you teach what you want to teach. We just ask that it's helping women with either their personal skills or professional skills or something that helps them grow and get to wherever they want to go. So there's lots of different topics that can be covered. But what I thought I would share today is whether you teach a course through our Empowerment Academy or you create your own, is some tips and advice that might help you with putting that webinar together. Which number one is always looking at, hey, who do I want to help? What do I want to help them with? And most importantly, what are they struggling with that I can help them? And lots of times we overcomplicate things, or we have already done the work in this area. And so we might put it in language that maybe somebody's not going to connect or relate to. And it's probably one of the mistakes I see that happens the most is you don't get the response because people don't know how it connects or relates to them. So I would invite you that if it's something that you've done the work and you're now on the other side and you know the magic solution and all that it takes to get there, is to go back to when you were struggling and to say, how was that showing up in my life? So that when somebody sees it, they say, that's me. I need to sign up for that. So keep that in mind when you're putting together your webinar. And really when you're putting together the write-up for your webinar is, hey, how is that showing up? What is it that your prospective clients and customers are struggling with? And what does it look like when you get to that promised land? What is that other side when you finally, get through that, whatever you need to do to learn that skill set or to do the healing or the work or whatever it is that you're wanting to teach, is how does that then improve your life? How does that change your life? How does that get you excited about your life? How does that make you become the highest version of yourself? And that's what people pull out their credit cards for. That's what people sign up for. That's what people buy, is those results. And so those things are really important to include, that even when you're putting something out that's free, is that you're really hitting those pain points that people are struggling with and where that other side can be afterwards. So hopefully that kind of gives you some tips and ideas that as you put things out there, whether you're doing it through One Woman or you're doing it on your own, is what makes this a successful webinar. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, it got really interesting for me because I was so used to putting on about 100 events a year, traveling around the world from city to city. And the first things that went were travel and large gatherings. And then you're like, oh, well, universe, now what? Now what do I do with all my time? And the thing is that sometimes we get knocked on our keister, so to speak, and we say like, hey, how am I going to figure this out? What am I going to do? And I thought, my job is to empower women in this world. And I just thought back to my gifts, skills, and talents, what I could do and how I could help people from the restrictions now out in the world in terms of, the live events, gatherings, all that kind of stuff. So I pivoted everything online and I started with webinars. And I talked to a dear friend of mine, which some of you already maybe know, Jackie. But Jackie spoke on almost every Fearless stage, and we would travel between events. And she asked me, she called me up and she was worried about me. And she said, Charlotte, what are you going to do now? You have this big organization and people, all these events you're going to go to. What are you going to do? And I said, well, those can be on hold until afterwards. We're going to do some online events. I'm going to figure out how to use this Zoom thing because I'd never used it before, prior to March of 2020, never even heard of it. Figured it out pretty darn quick, did our first World Summit. Then I decided I was going to start coaching women to build massively successful businesses because I've been doing that for over 25 years in my own life. It was gifts, skills, and talents that I had. But how was I going to let people know and get it out there? But what I knew for sure was the pain points that I knew a lot of women in business had. Struggled to monetize their gifts, to make money. They knew they were talented. They would share their fearless stories. They would, slay an audience, but they'd struggle with the financial part of things and really making money and building a successful business. And I knew I had the gifts to help others. But how do I let people know that? How do I get it out there? I started doing webinars. And I would do webinars called Pivot Your Passion into Profit, because pivot, boy, that was a big word during the pandemic. I think everybody got sick of that word after a while, but that was the thing, is how do you pivot during this time? But I was doing it myself and becoming successful at it. One Woman grew so big during that time. I think we had about 300,000 women that were made up One Woman, and now we're at almost 500,000. So that was all credited to the pandemic, things going online, and how successful you could be. That if you just open your mind to, hey, I'm going to get online and I'm going to jump on this crazy wave, see what it turns into. So we did a webinar called Pivot Your Passion into Profit. We did another one called How to Create $1 Million Business, because I believe that every woman can create that for themselves. And we also created another one called Smart Women Finish Rich. So catchy title, lots of fun, but also really looked at those pain points that women had. So I know the power of a webinar. I also know the power of building a relationship. And that's what webinars do, is it gives you the time to really get in front of an audience for them to get to know you, learn about your story, what you've done, what you've achieved, what you've accomplished, what you came through on the other side, and how you know that you can help somebody else to do that. And that's how you become successful at that. Sometimes we look at something and say like, oh, that's going to be so hard, or how am I going to reach people and all that stuff. Webinars can be really great. And don't get too worried about how many people are watching or in your audience and all that kind of stuff. One woman started with one woman. So it's just, getting yourself out there. But with One Woman, what we do is we help you to get it out there. I created $1 million coaching business in a year because I created these webinars. I shared my expertise and knowledge. Jackie shared hers as well. We created that together, which is now what is known as 100 Most Powerful Women, that we coach 100 women each year to build million and multi-million dollar companies. But what is it for you? What is it that your business is? Because it doesn't matter if it's coaching or if it's a product that you have or anything else that you do, you can connect it to a webinar to be able to educate your potential customers, to be able to get them excited about what you're doing, for them to get to know you and to build trust. That's very important, that people start getting to know you, what you're all about. Because sometimes we put all of our effort into social media ads, we'll just, sometimes do our best, throw some money behind that and put it out there and say like, okay, let's hope I get a sale. But the chances of somebody seeing something that you actually got their attention, that they click on it and they pull out their credit card and actually pay for that, whew, that's where it gets interesting, because it's like, well, who are you? I don't know you. Like, is this safe? We start asking ourselves all these kind of questions. Somebody might investigate more and all that kind of stuff. So, sometimes it's a lead generator that we do that brings somebody to a webinar or something that we're doing that allows them to get us to know us a little bit more and them to realize like, yeah, this is my person. This is who I really need to work with. So that being said, like I said, it's a lot of tips and advice to maybe help you with your own webinars, or if you're needing help, that is part of our One Woman Empowered membership, is that you can put on webinars through our Empowerment Academy, that we help you put them together. We promote those for you. So like I said, if you have your own webinars, you can still advertise and promote them through One Woman, but we help you with your creative in terms of, you know, the promotional piece that goes out that grabs people's attention to sign up and register. We provide you with a registration list of all the people who signed up, so that you have a lead generating list to be able to follow up with those potential customers afterwards. They all get not just invited to the webinar, but they get the replay as well. So that'll be sent out to them. So if they couldn't attend live, they'll still get the recording. You get the recording to do whatever it is that you'd like with it. So whether you want to use that as a lead generator on your website, maybe you want to use it as a paid course on your website down the road. You always have a lifetime, that's your webinar. We put it on our website as well. So it's a constant lead generator for you for years to come. So you've done that webinar on such and such a date, but it's always a lead generator for you that always is on our website, and that we'll promote and send out afterwards for people to be able to watch the replay as well. So, you know, this could give you lead generations for as long as that you want. If you decide, hey, I don't do this anymore, if you can remove my webinar from the website, that's not a problem. But we put it up there for as long as you want. So yeah, I think those are the main things with the Empowerment Academy that it includes, is helping you put it together, creating your creative, recording everything for you, putting it on our website, giving you a copy. And I just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything regarding that. Yes, I think those are the main things. Is there cost involved? Yes. So it's $500 to do a webinar, because I have to pay my staff and team to do all that stuff and put it all together. So, but it's a great place to start, that if you're struggling with, you know, your webinars, building your client base and stuff right now, how to put it all together, we help you to do that. And if you're an empowered member right now, and it's something that you say, yes, this is something that I want to do, this is my next step in terms of working with one woman. Oh, also for the time frame. So you have longer for the webinar. We suggest to keep them 45 minutes to an hour at max. And then you can sell them into anything that you want. So if you have a 6 weeks course coming up at the end of that webinar, we suggest that you send them out for, do the webinar for free, use it always as a lead generator, and then have something else. So whether that's coaching, whether that is an upcoming course, or whatever the case might be, that you can do that. So yes, it's $500 for a webinar, which is pretty close to our speaking fee as well. To speak at a Fearless event, it's just the fact that this one here is a little more involved, where you have more time to spend with your clients who are just there to listen to you. So with a Fearless event or an online World Summit, you know, we're usually featuring about 10 to 12 speakers who all speak during the day. This webinar would be just yours. So we'd be advertising and promoting it on that day just for you. So that's the other thing that makes it different as well. And you having more time to spend with your clients. You can make that webinar however you want. So if you want that to be interactive and do it more like a meeting and everybody can, you know, participate, it can be set up that way. You can do it so that you're just speaking and everybody's watching like they are today, and that you're delivering the information that way. It's totally up to you as to how. So yes. So yeah, this is instructors for our Empowerment Academy members. I don't know if it's actually is Dan, or if this is somebody else who's maybe using Dan's account, or maybe it's Danielle, but oh, Kelly, there we go. But yeah, so these are our One Woman Empowered meetings, but anybody can attend those meetings who are interested in becoming members. So yeah, so right now we are doing our instructors for September. So right now for the summer, there's no Fearless events. I'm actually moving my office back to Northwestern Ontario. So that's a big move between Alberta and Ontario. So I'll be tied up with that over the summer, but September we will kick things off. So I'll still be working with you over the summer for those that want to teach in September to put everything together, because we want you to have as much success as possible with your webinar. So we want to make sure that everything's exactly as you want it. You choose your date, that you'll deliver everything, all that kind of stuff. So, so the payment is only for our empowered members. So it doesn't matter where you live in the world. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you do this full-time or part-time, all that kind of stuff. And yes, that fee is for members, Twyla. It's only for members. So if you're not an empowered member, you won't be teaching through the Empowerment Academy. So we work with a team of women who make up our empowered membership that I get to know quite well, definitely over time, as to how best helping you with your business. So, and I will share the link to how to become a member in the comments shortly. The other thing I wanted to mention for our empowered members is the speaking opportunities coming up. So we have our World Summit in September. It's on Saturday, September the 10th. Friday is the last day to apply to speak at that event, and we're closing off speakers applications then. And then we have our Vegas event that is coming up in September 24th, which Daphne is going to be speaking at that event. And so I believe I still have a speaking space left for the Vegas event, but I do need to go. A whole bunch of applications just came in over the long weekend. It's like, oh, I got extra time on my hands. So I had to go through all those applications. So yeah, that I will go through, and I will, if you've applied, I will definitely get back to you this week. But make sure you apply sooner rather than later. We'll be adding on more events coming up. And but once I get settled, then I'll start looking at my calendar and seeing where else we're going to wind up going this year, and definitely into 2023. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Ooh, the last thing I wanted to mention is for those who want to advertise and promote anything that's going on during the summer is you can post it on the One Woman Connected page. I'm going to pick it up and share it from there if it's something that is shareable. But if you do have something like a webinar, a book launch, a retreat, anything that you have all the details for that's happening this summer, is if you send it to me by Friday, I'll be sending out our One Woman Member Happenings email next week. And so if you want to get in on that email that's going to go out to our massive list of ladies around the world, make sure you send me the image, the graphics for it, make sure you send the copy for it, and make sure you send the link for it as to anything that is linked for people to be able to sign up or to learn more, any of that kind of stuff. So that email is going to go out early, probably next week. And I know Phoebe had already sent me stuff on her Costa Rica retreat that's coming up. So that will be included in there. And if anybody else has something that they want to include, just make sure you get it to me by Friday. So if you have paid for the speaking in September, is that accepted? You would have gotten an acceptance letter and all the details, speaker details for the event if you were accepted. So if you have all that stuff from me, Reka, you are good to go. And if not, drop me an email and I can see where your application is at. So I don't want to take up any more time from our amazing speaker for today. If you have any further questions, feel free to throw those in the chat and I'll make sure I address them before we wrap up today. But I'm going to introduce our amazing speaker, an fellow empowered member, Daphne. So Daphne may very well be the happiest person you will ever meet. She's an author, international speaker, also known as Speaker Girl, an Enneagram practitioner and mindset development expert. For 15 years, Daphne has been studying the power of our thoughts, how they shape our experiences in life, and ultimately our results. For the last 8 years, Daphne studied alongside world thought leader Bob Proctor until his untimely passing this past February. Please welcome the beautiful and amazing Daphne Shepherd.
Charla, thank you so much. What a gift it is to be here with absolutely everyone. Thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day and being here today. What an incredible, beautiful person you are, Charla. And this platform of One Woman is such a gift to women all over the world. You shine the light on us and you give us permission to share and be who we are. And that is absolutely, like I say, a gift. Thank you so much for that. So I'm here today and I'm very excited to be here today. I want to talk to you a little bit about the power of our words. Words have the ability to make or break us. Words will make us happy when we hear kind words, generous words. Words can make us very sad. Words can shift, or like Charla says, pivot, just our whole emotion and our whole vibe, if we allow them to. So what we have to understand is that the words that we use in our communities, with our families and with our friends, those matter. But I'll tell you what matters most, and that is the words you use with yourself. Why? Because the sum total of all your words, good or bad, has shaped you into who you are today. Your words have shaped your experiences on this planet, and your words are powerful. So I really just want to kind of dig into this with you today and just share some of the insights that I've learned over the years. Back in 2003, there were a couple of words that turned my life around, and I want to be here today to share that with you. They shape our reality. And what it is when we speak words to ourselves, and again, I'm going to speak specifically for us, not with family and friends and stuff, because who we are will, I guess, affect and, just who we are will affect the people that we're with and will affect the experiences that we have with them and also in our lives. So it is so important that the conversations that you have with yourself are positive, that the words that you use are kind words, are thoughtful words, are words that you would say to your best friend if they were having a bad day or if they were in trouble, okay? Those are the words that we've got to use with ourselves. We've got to nurture ourselves. We've got to tell ourselves how beautiful we are and how powerful we are, because we are. We are our only problem in our life, and we are our only solution in our life. And we solve a lot of the circumstances and situations that we're faced with by what conversations that we've been telling ourselves over the year, and what our abilities are to face those challenges, to face those situations, and to move through them, and to be successful, and to see on the other side just how well we did, if we had breakthroughs, if we had goals that we wanted to meet, and so on. With the pandemic, how often were we told, no, you can't do that. No, that's not allowed. No, no, no. So during the pandemic, I kind of sat back and I thought, hell, I'm going to make this my year of yes. Every day, your feet hit the floor in the morning, understand that you are an emerging possibility. You are both potential and possibility the second your feet hit the floor. So in the year of yes, that was something that I wanted to embody myself with. That every moment, it didn't matter if it was right now or right now, or right now, is that I was both an emerging possibility and that I had potential and that I could guide my year of yes. Now, I talked to a lot of people and they said, well, Daphne, if I'm saying yes to everything, then I'm getting myself in deep caca. And I said, yeah, absolutely. We don't want to be saying, yes, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll be there. And yes, because that pulls us all out of shape and takes us in different directions and stresses us out, quite frankly. So I said to them, you know what? Your year of yes might be saying yes to saying no. No, I'm not going to do that. I've created personal boundaries, and this is how comfortable I am moving forward with certain situations in my life. No, I'm not going to go to that family dinner because I've got other important things that are going on. So this pandemic, like Charlotte was saying, really shifted or pivoted my life and just kind of how I looked at things too. And like I say, every morning when your feet hit the floor, you are an emerging possibility and potential. This is your year of yes. So whatever it is that you have, pushed under the or swept under the carpet, or something that you thought that you might be able to go after, but you kind of thought, you know what, that's not for me, or I can't do that, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the money. No, that all stops right here, right now. You are a magnificent human being who has power and potential beyond what we could even know. And your gifts, your boots were made for walking on this earth in your purpose. And a lot of people say to me, well, Daphne, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, we don't look for our purpose. We'll never find it. It's not something that's outside of us. We have to understand that our purpose, our dharma, our desires, and what we're meant to do here on earth is already a part of us. But I'll tell you where the disconnect is. The disconnect is what we keep telling ourselves. The disconnect is what people before us, whether it's our parents or our grandparents, or if it's been communities or school coaches or music teachers, anybody who has had an effect on our lives, their words, perhaps we've bought into them and we've bought that story. So here we are believing in these words over here that other people have, that have been in our environment maybe for many, many, many years. But over here, we have our desires, our goals, the things that we really want to do in our lives, but we've said no to because we believe or we think that we can't. That's not true. What happens with the words that you use and the words that you hear on a repetitive basis, they start to lay down tracks in our conscious minds, which is our thinking minds. And your conscious mind is also your current reality, okay? So these words played over and over, or phrases that are played in our minds over and over and over from people outside of us. And we hear them, and they get downloaded basically onto us. And if you think about it, think about a Christmas carol. I'm sure that we could all right now all join together. Not that we want to think about winter or Christmas though, but I'm sure we could all rattle off Christmas carols right now without looking at sheet music. Well, why does that happen? Because we've had the message, we've heard the words over and over and over again. So it's kind of like this. I've got an LP record here. And if you look on this record, there, you're going to see, there's the light. You're going to see minute little tiny grooves on the record, okay? When we play the record and we put the needle on it, we hear a certain set of notes. And if I put it over here, I'll hear a different set of notes, okay? Anytime I put the needle on the record here, I'm going to hear those same set of notes. Your words and what you say to yourself and what you've bought into, possibly from people around you or culture or, like I say, work environments, teachers, anything, coaches, anything like that, they are the grooves on the record, okay? And every time you hear those words, it's going to elicit a certain response from you. If you hear good words, it's going to be a good response. If you hear bad words, then it's going to set up a negative vibe, just a negative mood, I guess. And we all know what the news has been full of, what newspapers have been full of lately, and it is all, well, for the most part, I'd say, 95% bad news. And, I'll tell you, I don't listen to radio. I do for music. I don't watch TV. I don't watch news. I don't read newspapers for that very reason, because I want to furnish my inner dwelling with kind words and words that will get me to where I want to be in my life, especially during my year of yes. And I welcome you also today to join in your very own year of yes. So back to the record here. These grooves, okay, they start to etch something called paradigms. Paradigms are like a multitude of habits that we just go out and do on autonomy. Like it's automatic. Paradigms control how we think. Your perception or your perspective of certain things is a paradigm, because your experiences that you have in your life are colored through the lenses of your perspective, okay? So behind all this, though, are the words. Again, if they're kind, inspiring, beautiful words of gratitude, and kind words of the purpose that you're here and meant to do while you're here on this earth in this physical form called your body, then that's absolutely fantastic. But the paradigms, we have bad paradigms. And unfortunately, like I say, we're on autonomy most of the time, so we don't even think about what we're saying, or really how hurtful sometimes some of the words we say to ourselves can be. Because what happens with that conscious mind is we have our senses, we have our physical senses, which are see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And those senses are picking up all the stimuli around us, and it's coming in and filtering through the conscious mind, like I said, which is our thinking mind and which is also our current reality. If we get involved with the words, so in other words, if they sink inside of us and we pass it over to what we call our subconscious mind, which is our emotional mind, if we allow those words to sink in that deep where it actually affects us, okay, it's going to set us up into a vibration, all right? Your body is an instrument of your mind. What you choose, what words you use that you get involved with sits in the subconscious mind. And that controls your behavior. Your behavior will determine your results in life, right? Again, conscious mind filters what we allow in or what we say, you know what, we're taking that to the curb. We're not getting involved with that. But when you do, and you allow yourself to get involved, and it sinks into that subconscious mind, your emotional mind, that sets up your behavior. And in your behavior, how you go out and how you conduct yourself, your successes, all of that, your behavior determines your results. Your results are what you see manifest in your current reality or what you have in your life. So Bob used to always say to me, Daphne, he said, if you don't like what's going on in your life right now, or you're not sure what's going on, take a look at the results that you're having and then work it back. Work it backwards. So I've got results that I'm not really that keen on. I work it back to my behavior. Then I take a look at, well, what have I been involved with? What have I been telling myself? Am I talking to myself like I would if I was consoling my best friend? That's what I need to do. I've got to love myself. I've got to know that I am the most powerful person in my life. Nobody else is responsible. Nobody. You're the captain of your ship, the architect of your life. That is who we are. And we are here in purpose. We are walking in those boots. And that purpose, like I said, is not outside of us. It's all here. But the disconnect is because we've bought into all these other conversations and we see ourselves in pieces of that, and we believe or we think that that's who we are, so that we cannot then go out and do the things that are burning and percolating inside of us, the things that we really want to do, have, or be in our life. And that's where that disconnect is. If we don't understand how we work, how the subconscious and the conscious mind works and the relationship, and then how that all filters through this gorgeous instrument called our body. It's our ride. It's the cart that's going to take us around to all our different experiences and destinations. We've got to treat that well too. But if we don't understand how we work, what happens is we, I guess it's a form of ignorance, but I don't mean ignorance in a mean way. I just mean ignorance in the sense of just not knowing. And then what happens when we just don't know something, it sets up worry and doubt, right? The emotions of worry and doubt. And then if that's left and kind of festering a little bit, such a nasty word, fester, but if that's left and festering a little bit, then it turns into fear. Yeah, and that's a biggie for a lot of people, especially after COVID. Fear. If that fear is not addressed, it sets up a vibration of anxiety in the body. So the fear is resident in that subconscious mind of ours, our emotional mind, which is driving the behaviors, the anxiety. And if we leave ourselves in a state of anxiety, we are in a state where we're suppressed. And then if that's left, that suppression translates into depression. Depression is a state of dis-ease in our body. That's the furthest thing from our truth of who we are. Because that state of dis-ease then turns into disintegration, deceleration, That's not who we are. We're a molecular structure of energy. We don't get energy, we are energy. And to be on that side of the street where we've got worry and doubt and fear and suppression and anxiety and depression and all, no, no. With knowledge, though, and an understanding of who we are, and an understanding of how powerful these words are when we allow them into our subconscious mind, because that'll dictate our behavior. And that also sets us up for the successes that we are. I mean, abundance is our birthright. Don't ever forget that. Abundance is your birthright. So with knowledge and understanding of how we work and the subconscious and the conscious mind and all of that, we gain this understanding, right? And that understanding then gives us faith. And I'm not talking wishy-washy. I'm talking about faith based on understanding. Like we know, right? And it's the total opposite of the fear on that other side of the street, but we're not going there. So we've got faith. And then based on that platform of faith, my gosh, we have a sense of well-being. We are here, we are walking in our boots of purpose. That well-being then translates to expression. Yes, the year of yes. Expression. That expression then turns into acceleration instead of deceleration. No, what the hell was that? Let's accelerate. Let's get out there. Let's live this life. We're only here. We only have this ride once. Let's get out there and do it. So we're in this state of acceleration. And you know what? That, my friends, is a body that is at ease. Because you're knit, you're hemmed to the purpose that you are. Remember, it's not out there, that you already are. And that is a state of creation. Man, that's when the rubber meets the road, and anything that you want to have be or do in your reality, that's where the magic happens for you. So I used to do a web or a seminar, I guess it was actually in person prior to COVID, called It's an Inside Job. And a lot of people came to me during COVID and said, Daph, we got a lot of value out of that. I think with COVID, it would be a great idea to get it out there. And I thought about it and I thought, yeah, it's absolutely right. And like Charla, and one woman is so generous to share all the gifts and all the networking and all the power of this incredible group of women all over the world. I thought, if this is my contribution, then this is what I'm meant to do. So I put the course, It's an Inside Job. And it all is on how our thoughts operate us and the power of our words. Because remember, for us to get out of where we think we can't do something with those paradigms I've talked about that are resident in your subconscious mind that are maybe holding us back, we've got to get in there and we've got to disrupt them. And then what we have to do is come up with a set of new words, new phrases, new meaning for our life. And we've got to lay down new tracks. And then you know what? Then we say that we are here and playing the music that we came here to play. And that's all we can ever ask for in our life while we're here. Remember this. It's not who we think we are. It's not who we are that is holding us back. It's who we think we're not. Choose your words carefully. Get involved with words that are going to take you to beautiful, bigger, better things. Take the rest of the trash out to the curb, leave it there. There's no time and no place for negativity in your life. Celebrate you. I celebrate you. And I applaud you for being here today. And I thank you very much for your time.
So good, Daphne. Such a powerful and such an important message as
Thank
to
you.
the words and what we're telling ourselves.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we tell ourselves is just not true.
No.
Things that hold us back. And that you have this fantastic course that helps us because, you know, as women, gosh, we struggle with these things for sure. So Daphne, if you wouldn't mind sharing the link for that course in the chat, share it over on Facebook, because I know we got some ladies watching over there. Does anybody have any questions for Daphne? Feel free to throw those in the chat as well. And yeah, that's what I love about these sessions, is that we get to know all of our members so well, the work that they do, and that feeling that we're like, hey, I really need to connect with this person, or I need to take this course, or I need to, you know, plan a call or a chat, or you find those synergies, or you find that person that you know you need the help from. So Daphne put that link in the chat. So make sure that you click on that. And then she's also going to share it over on our Facebook page, which I just went and approved a lot of the ladies who had asked to be a part of that page. So I just went in there. So you should be able to also watch the replay over there shortly, so that if you missed any of today, you can go back and re-watch it. And I got lots of emails already about the webinar. So I was only looking to do 4 in September, but not to worry that if you emailed me, I will book into the fall time. So if it's not September, then we'll look at October. But if you're wanting to do a webinar through the Empowerment Academy, we will get you a date and a spot, and we'll work with you to be able to make it successful and start being able to help you grow your business. I hope the other tips and advice, that even if it's not doing it through the Empowerment Academy, helped you today. Because as an empowered member, you can just share and promote and advertise your webinars through the connected page, and then we'll share them. But it's more of you, if you're saying, hey, I've been putting webinars out there for a long time, or I keep trying and it's just not working for me. Sometimes we need somebody to help us to then put it together so that we start seeing the success that we need. So that's what the Empowerment Academy is all about, is helping you to be able to put it together, put it out there, and to be able to give you a tool that'll help you with generating leads. Our next connected session most likely isn't going to happen until September, although if I can sneak another one in once I get settled, we will do that. But otherwise, keep an eye on the connected page, because there's still stuff going on. And also keep an eye on the e-newsletter, and we'll be sending all that stuff out. If you have something going on, make sure you send it to me, because I'll send it out as our One Woman member happenings as to what's happening over the summer. Like Daphne's amazing course here, we can definitely make sure that we get that included as well. Gabrielle, I believe, is our speaker in September, who I think she's watching. So if you are a One Woman Empowered member, and if you want to speak and share like Daphne did today, drop me an email, because as we book these sessions in the fall time, which I love doing at least a couple each month, we'll get you scheduled in so you can share what you do with fellow members and other women who are interested in being a part of One Woman, so that you can connect, learn, meet other members from right around the world. And yeah, that's where the magic happens for sure. So any final words at all, Daphne?
Yeah, Charlotte, you know what? I just put a coupon code in that program for our One Woman members. And the coupon code, I'll enter it here, is I said yes, with 2 exclamation marks. And that will get people 10% off.
Oh,
just for our membership.
just for our members. So
Yes.
lucky us today. So make sure you use that. The I said yes with 2 exclamation marks. And when does the course start, Daphne?
You know what? It's online, so it's immediate. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so
awesome.
Year of Yes can start right now.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome, Daphne. Well,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Charla. I just so appreciate you. Just you're such an amazing, beautiful, warm person. Thank you.
Thanks, Daphne. We do what we can to help. And, I know what that's like for each of us is, we have these big goals and dreams. We have these passions. We know we have these gifts and talents, but it's like, how do I get it out there? Like, this is what I want to do. And you can be massively successful at whatever it is that you want to do. And, as Daphne said, you have this one precious life, which, I can kind of say I've kind of had a second shot at it. Daphne knows my story. I was a little sick there last year, but that's the thing is that, we have this opportunity to live the life of our dreams, our extraordinary life. And that is what the universe wants for us.
Yes.
And it's all about becoming the highest version of ourselves, the greatest version of ourselves, all that we can become. And I know, that is in you.
Yes.
And trust me when I say is that is what you are here for, is to do what you were called to do, to become that highest version of you and to be able to share those gifts and talents with others so that they can become the highest version of themselves. And we all need a little help along the way. We need to be that teacher for others. And sometimes we're the student, and that's the beautiful thing. But I guarantee you, when you get to the end of the days, that if you lived fearlessly, if you decided to follow that defined path, if you listen to that inner call and say, yeah, you know what? This is my next right step, connecting with Daphne, taking that course, connecting with somebody else in the group, becoming a member, doing my webinar, whatever it is for you, is that if you just trust that and take the next right step, I guarantee you the next one will appear. So that's what I want to leave you with, ladies. So be sure to connect with Daphne and, also check out the rest of the things on our website. She just does extraordinary work. And I know we've got a great Bob Proctor community. I saw some other fellow shout outs and all that kind of stuff. So you just never know where the synergies might lie and other opportunities that exist out there. So connect, have fun, enjoy what you're doing every day. And we look forward to seeing you again soon, ladies. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.